some analysis from neighbouring Jordan now, and Marwan Mouashir joins us from Amman. He's a former Jordanian ambassador to Israel and also to the US. Thanks so much for coming on the programme. First of all, I want to ask you about some media reports that say Amman appears to have stopped the Jordan Valley annexation. What are you hearing with regards to that?
We don't know yet. There are reports that say that annexation might be postponed. Let me just make sure that any annexation at any time, with any size, is going to kill the two-state solution. And killing the two-state solution is neither in Palestinian interests nor in Jordanian interests. So we are less concerned in Jordan about the timing of annexation. We are more concerned with an Israeli government that seems to think that they can do annexation and preserve any semblance of peace, which is totally false.
And why does this Israeli government think that it can carry out annexation, which is planned in to begin in just 2 days? And is there anything that can stop Netanyahu within these 2 days?
I think it's obvious that Netanyahu wants to make use of the Trump plan in order to do that. Until last year, Netanyahu never even mentioned annexation, nor considered it important for Israel's security. In fact, all of Israel's security establishment, or most of it, thinks annexation is going to be bad for Israel, both from a security and a political point of view. Mr. Netanyahu thinks that because the Trump plan is out there and because Mr. Trump faces an election which he might not win in November, he wants to make use of the fact that Trump is in power today to affect annexation. But it is very clear that any size of annexation, as I stated, will kill a two-state solution, is a violation of international law, and is going to make things not difficult but impossible for any possibility of a two-state solution emerging in the future.
And what would this do to stability in the Middle East region? Because Jordan's King Abdullah has repeatedly warned against Israel's annexation.
Well, it's going to be detrimental to stability for sure. If the Palestinians cannot have their own, their own state in the West Bank and Gaza, that is a formula for violence. But I want to say more, Maria, than this. If a two-state solution becomes impossible, and it is clear that it is becoming impossible, then the Palestinians probably will shift the paradigm and will start demanding equal rights within the state they are living in. Because to continue on a dream of a two-state solution when it is very, very clear that Israel is absorbing more of the land on a daily basis, the Palestinians are going to be left with the only choice they have available, which is to call for equal rights within the state they live in. That changes the equation totally, because the Palestinians today are a majority in areas under Israeli control. And in 10 or 20 or 30 years down the line, when the Palestinians become 60 or 65% of the population, the international community is not going to be able to keep saying to the Palestinians no to a state and no to equal rights. That means only yes to apartheid, which is something that cannot last.
And have you seen a credible, strong Palestinian plan from the leadership against this annexation proposal?
Well, there is not just a Palestinian plan, but an Arab plan that was presented in 2002 called the Arab Peace Initiative, when the Arabs offered, peace and security with Israel, not by the Palestinians alone, but by 22 Arab states. That obviously has been rejected by Israel, and I think we are past this move. The time for a two-state solution is closing. And the only alternative is going to be what we face today, which is not a one-state solution maybe, but a one-state reality. And the question becomes from now on, if a two-state solution is dead, the question becomes, what kind of a one-state reality do we want? Do we want a democratic state, or do we want an apartheid state?
And you've been Foreign Minister for Jordan, and a lot of foreign allies for the Palestinians have been opposed to this. We've heard from more than 1,000 European MPs, a lot of strong condemnation. Why has nothing been done? Why does Israel not care about what is being said?
Well, there is a simple fact that Israel only cares about the view of the United States. And despite the overwhelming position of the international community, despite the very fact that this is a clear and unequivocal violation of international law, Israel does not seem to care as long as the United States stands behind it. That is unfortunately what we are facing today. If Mr. Trump is not re-elected, then we might see a different view from the US. But until the US stands by Israel in such a blind way, then I'm afraid Israel feels it can have the cake and eat it. That's not necessarily the case. I want to re-emphasize, if the Palestinians change the paradigm and start talking about a new paradigm in which they demand equal rights within the state they live in, that is where I see things are going. I think the two-state solution, window for a two-state solution is closing, if it's not closed already. And I'm afraid that if Israel goes ahead with annexation, this is going to be the last coffin, in the last nail in the coffin of a two-state solution, and the international community will have to start looking at another paradigm.
Marwan Mouashir, thank you so much. Former Jordanian ambassador to Israel and the US, and also former Foreign Minister of Jordan. We appreciate your analysis and time.